Hi, glad you made it back, everybody. Welcome back to the Chris Salcedo Show. You know, our economic recovery is slowly but surely getting underway as certain left-wing states and municipalities are starting to open up slowly but surely. Let's talk about this with Art Laffer. He served as a member of President Ronald Reagan's Economic Advisory Board. He is, of course, responsible for the famous Laffer curve, also a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, co-author of Trumponomics Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Mr. Laffer, welcome back to the Chris Salcedo Show.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure being with you.
Now, before we get to the bird's eye view of what's going on in the economy, I wanted to get your take on the latest push in these left-wing states. Not only have people in these states had to endure a prolonged lockdown in these left-wing states, now they've got riots destroying their communities, and now the left-wing municipalities are talking about departments. Now, let me ask you, any business owner that you know would ever voluntarily set up shop in a city or a state without police?
I can't imagine it, to be honest with you, Chris. I mean, first they have all of these things, then they're going to have the plague, then they're going to have the locusts come in and all of that. No, just joking. It's a mistake what they're doing. It really is a mistake, and unfortunately that mistake will redound very much to the detriment of their workers and employers and their people in the state. So it's really very sad that they don't let people go back to work. The coronavirus is diminishing very rapidly. The number of deaths is below 1,000 per day now. In New Zealand, they've declared New Zealand coronavirus free. Vaccines are coming along, and yet these people still are holding people back from business and economics. It's shocking.
Yeah, and as we've been talking about the whole defund the police movement, I've been getting emails left and right from people who deliver goods saying, I'm not going to go to a city without police. I'm not going to be delivering my goods to a state that doesn't have police. So that could be very bad economically. Many so-called experts were saying this last jobs report was going to be a disaster. 8 million jobs lost. Of course, they were phenomenally wrong as we added 2.5 million jobs. Let me ask you, where were you in your predictions about where the jobs numbers would be, and why did they get it so wrong?
I thought that we were going to increase jobs 2.6 million, and it only came in 2.5 million, Chris, and I was really disappointed being so far off. No, I'm just joking. I was very optimistic about the number of jobs. I thought we'd do very well in this, and everyone else was negative, and that's just because they're basically not economists. They don't understand it, and they don't understand the numbers. I mean, this economy is bouncing back very rapidly. It's not a slow recovery. This is a very rapid recovery. This will be the shortest recession in U.S. history, probably, and the deepest dive and the bounce back because the economic policies are perfectly correct. I mean, we had the best economy going into the coronavirus. The coronavirus was much less than people thought it would be. The market collapsed from, if you remember, from about 29,500 down to 18,000 and then pops right back up. I think today it's only about 6 or 7% off its high. So this is a very short, very rapid return. Unemployment, new unemployment claims data are dropping like a stone. The unemployment rate is coming down. So what more do you ask? This is almost over, and thank goodness, because it was really very unpleasant while it was here. But I think the U.S. economy looks great going forward.
Well, by year's end, do you anticipate that we will have a complete bounce back? What do you think?
Well, I don't think we'll ever have a complete bounce back. When you destroy that much production for even for a short period of time, it takes a while to come back. I mean, to get right back up to the 3.5% unemployment rate and all the different optics that were great at the time. I mean, airlines aren't going to go back to 100%. Obviously, cruise lines, at least I'm not going to ever go on a cruise line again. But I mean, if you look at cruise lines, I don't think they're coming back. I think there's going to be some changes in real estate, especially buildings, commercial real estate. So all of that's going to be, but we're going to come back almost to where we were before, and I'm very excited by that. And then we'll discover new highs. I mean, with what happened with the coronavirus, is some companies did get destroyed, other companies were damaged a lot, but when coming back, they will discover new ways of creating things, and this could well be a Schumpeterian period of creative destruction where we actually come back in production terms better than when we left. But the GDP won't be where it was for, well, quite a while.
And does this show and reveal, I mean, this could be the silver lining, just how destructive our policies with China, all of our lines of production being over in China, and a wake-up call to our politicians that we've got to reverse course on that?
Well, let me just say this about, if I can. I mean, when we came into the coronavirus, the United States did. We had the best economy in the world, bar none. It was terrific. What Trump's tax cuts did in 2017 had put us into the perfect economy. We were in the best position imaginable to take on the coronavirus. Secondly, our medical system was very well prepared for this. We had more ICU beds available per 100,000 than I think any other major country in the world. So we were as well prepared as anyone could be. And then when it hit, I don't think this is a time for revisiting all the trade relations and everything. I think good companies now know to have higher inventories. If they're going to import products, to have higher inventories here so they don't ever get caught short with the production chain going on. So I don't think this should change the fundamental direction of free trade that President Trump has been pushing. Obviously, with certain products and stuff, we need to make sure we have inventories available here, or we have a different chain of production than that. But in bottom line, and except for government politics to politics, I mean, the intellectual property rights need to be enforced and all of that. But I think free trade is still a darn good policy to follow.
Yeah. I would say free trade is great, and so is fair trade. Last thing, government spending. They have shown no signs on Capitol Hill of cutting back any spending whatsoever. They need to cut government spending given the hit the American people have taken, yes?
Well, yes, I do agree with that. But did you see the CARES Act? Did you see how big that was? That was $2.3 trillion. Then they added another $600 billion on that. And if I remember correctly, it was passed by the House and by the Senate and signed by the president. So, you know, there was a little co-complicity in all that stuff. We didn't need to spend all that money. I mean, the medical stuff was great, but this economy was going to bounce back anyway because what Trump had done beforehand. If we'd have just done nothing, it had bounced right back to where it is now. I mean, it would have been, and I don't think we need more, but if we are going to do more, you shouldn't spend more. You should cut taxes. We need to have a payroll tax waiver, both employer and employee, through December of this year, and that would guarantee that this economy come back as fast as possible, Chris. I mean, that would do a great job, and I take my hat off to President Trump for proposing that. I think it's the right thing to do, and he deserves all the credit in the world for proposing that. So I'm really with him on that one, 100%.
Amen to that. Art Laffer, thank you, sir. We appreciate the time, as always, here on the Chris Salcedo Show. We will talk again. Coming up, folks, Michael Reagan visits with us next on the Chris Salcedo Show. Stay right there on Newsmax TV.
Stay with Newsmax TV. The Chris Salcedo Show will be right back after this.